Good morning and welcome to the Saturday Morning Success Talk Show, where we share with you the secrets of success in life, in relationships, and in business. I'm your host, Dennis Nurmela, and here with me, my co-host, Naomi Temple. How you doing today, Naomi?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here again. And you know what? I am so excited today because I am a small town girl living in a country world today, and I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we've got some country with us today. If you see with us, coming in on video today, Mr. Nathan, what's the last name again? Osmond. Yeah, Nathan Osmond.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Osborne.
Osborne. Well, those families are so similar, you know. You
Uncle
can get
Ozzy,
mixed up. Yeah. Nathan Osmond is a world-renowned musician in the country music, and he is, yes, he is related. His father is Alan Osmond, the oldest of all the Osmond brothers. So Donnie and Marie, who you might have heard of too, they are his aunt and uncle.
You might have heard of them.
You might have heard of them, yeah. So
they've been around.
Yeah. Nathan has been a good friend to the Saturday Morning CEO radio show, and this is his first time now on the Success Talk Show. And we're excited to have you here, Nathan.
Well, thank you, Dennis. I appreciate you guys having me here. This is fun. Look at the technology we have nowadays. I can be sitting here in my home office, the studio, and be able to just be on a talk show. It's awesome.
Oh, it's great. It is great. And it's just like you're here, except kind of 2D, you know?
I want to like reach out and touch someone, you know?
That's right, yeah. We can scratch your side of your face if you get itchy.
Oh, look at that little chinny chin right there. Right there. A little scratch right there.
So we want to find out from you, our audience, if they don't know you, we want them to get to know you. So tell us a little bit about your background, how you got started. I know you weren't always in country music. There were a few days after birth.
I'm a convert.
That's a convert to country.
That's right. I've been singing since I was just a little kid. I started off, on the Donnie and Marie shows. They're my uncle and aunt, and my brothers and I sang as a little boy band. We actually got started singing barbershop harmony, and then went into the pop music. We had a lot of success in that field, especially internationally. Over in the UK, we had 3 songs in the top 40. I used to tour with New Kids on the Block and a bunch of the groups from the 90s. But it was when I moved to Branson, Missouri, in the mid 90s, early 90s. That's when I kind of got turned on to country music. And when I got home from a 2-year mission for our church, I decided, you know what, I need to pursue my music. And all the songs I was writing were country music, and so I just started to think back about the people I'd worked with. Some of my favorite artists I ever worked with in this business were the country people, and I said, those are my people. And I just really, really had a good time. I went out to Nashville, got to know the guys from Lone Star and Dean Sams, who he actually gave me my first recording experience and writing experience out in Nashville, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that coming up. But anyway, I love country music. I think you can tell.
Oh, that's great.
Definitely.
Well, and our focus today for the show is all about success, and success usually comes with overcoming some challenges. So,
sure.
Some of our audience might be thinking, well, he's an Osmond, so he was born with a golden spoon in his mouth, and everything came to him so easy. Is that the case?
Oh boy. It's so easy to judge, It
is.
So often we think that if you come from a family that's already established or known for something, that it's easy to step in and fill those shoes. It is actually quite the opposite. I found that with the last name Osmond, it's a two-edged sword. A lot of people don't want to give you a second chance or your kids a second chance because you've already had the spotlight. Give it to someone else. And on top of that, we're all related to family members that just love us so much they don't want to see us get hurt. Well, I found that in life that if you want to be successful, stop talking about it and go do it. I had to do the same thing, and I didn't tell everybody what I was doing because I found that if I did, they would probably try and discourage me from doing it. Because, they said, keep it a hobby, keep it a hobby. I heard that a bunch, especially as I started going to college. This music thing has been fun as a little boy band thing and everything, but go get a good education and go get a real job. That's what I was told, but the thing is I have so much music in my DNA and passion for it and experience in it. My father did it, and he was successful in it. Why would they discourage me? So I said, rather than go down that path, I'm just going to go out and make it happen, and then I'm going to talk about it.
Oh, very good. And you did go, was your dad encouraging of you to get in the music business or not?
You know, he didn't want to be a stage parent, neither did my mother. They were there through every stage of my life so far, though, and they were very supportive, especially as young kids, but we had to work on it. My father says, I'm not just going to hand over everything that we worked for on a silver platter to my boys just because you have a name that people recognize. You have to earn every standing ovation. You have to prove it to me that you want to be in this business. So at 6 a.m. every morning, my brothers and I would be up in front of the mirrors rehearsing our choreography and sitting in a circle after school, just harmonizing a cappella, doing those tight, intricate harmonies with barbershop harmony and more. You know, we used to do a lot of the intricate harmonies that the Osmonds did. And once we proved ourselves, then my father started to open a few doors for us and let us perform locally at some talent shows, which led to, you know, People Magazine wrote a little small, tiny article about us, which Bob Hope read, which then led to us being on his Christmas show back in 1986. And then Curb Records heard about that and saw that, and they signed us. And, you know, it's just, we had to earn it, though, baby steps. We had to work for it.
Well, that must be very true in that respect, but I'm thinking that you probably had some really big dreams. And was there a time, you know, which is great, have big dreams, but was there a time where your ability didn't quite match your dream? And how did you deal with that obstacle or challenge?
We're very brutally honest in our family. If you're flat, fix it. You know, and that's the thing, is that a lot of kids seem nowadays to have to go on shows like American Idol to be told that they can't sing. My father never told me I couldn't do anything. In fact, it was quite the opposite. He encouraged me and helped me establish a belief in myself. And I believe sometimes you have to believe in somebody else's belief in you until your own belief kicks in. Now, you also have to be honest with yourselves. If you're not cutting it, then work harder. You know, get some training, get some skills, find out what you're not doing right and fix it. I mean, I wrote a song for my wife for our wedding. I played it for Donnie. I said, what'd you think? He loved it when I did it live, but when he listened to it, he says, well, the mix sucks, and the melody's just not simple enough for me. And that was the only nice thing he said about the whole thing, you know? So, but I appreciated his honesty.
Oh, absolutely. You have to be humble enough to take it, I suppose.
Sure.
So,
well, here's what I want to know is that you, for a while there, weren't in the country music business, right? Didn't you take some other work first?
Well, I went to school. I got off the road. I did 2 years of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which is a musical.
Okay.
And I was even cast as Charlie Brown in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. But I took time off to get an education, to go to school, to meet, you know, girls, and to find the one I wanted to marry. And finally, when I got married in 2002, I was doing another musical. I went right into doing some more musicals, and my wife, she saw me come out in a cowboy outfit. I was doing Annie, Get Your Gun. And she looked at me, and some epiphany went off in her head. She's like, you're supposed to be a country singer.
oh.
I said, really? And sometimes she
You.
regrets saying that. But the thing is, I took her literally. She says, listen to the songs you're writing, because I love to write. And I started listening to it, and she says, they're all, most of them were country.
Yes.
And she says, you have the look. I had a goatee on. I don't know, maybe it's the chaps. But she says, you're supposed to be a country singer. So I started thinking differently. I started thinking, well, I've always done the group thing. You know, but there came a time in Donnie and Marie's career where they kind of had to branch off and do their own thing. And I figured, you know, my brothers were all going to school, and the group was not doing as much entertainment anymore. I said, I think I got too much music in my DNA. I got to go pursue this.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's really good. And you've done some speaking too, is that right? You want to tell us a
Absolutely.
little bit about that?
Yes.
I found, Dennis, that sometimes you can't just step into what you want to do automatically overnight. You can start making steps towards that, and massive action can be taken towards making that dream a reality. But I had to go do what I had to do to be able to support my family.
Right.
I sold women's shoes at Nordstrom. I played their piano there. I started working for a seminar company. They put me on stage as my background in entertainment. So I started introducing people like Donald Trump and Tony Robbins and George Foreman. And I started saying, hey, guys, what about singing a song on stage like the national anthem to kick it off? So I had a big, you know, audience there, a microphone. I said, this is entertainment. I could do what I love to do. And I started learning how to speak better. I started putting presentations together, started doing motivational speaking, and now I do that quite often.
Oh, that's excellent. And that's something that you've got a couple different areas that you can use now, and you're asked to speak a lot just because you are an Osmond,
Well,
and you have your own.
And the
have
funny
that
thing
name.
is, I used to be very, very shy. You look at the guy now, I mean, this is not the guy I was when I was a kid. There was a time we actually went on Good Morning America when I was about 9 years old. And Joan London singled me out of all the Osmonds that were on stage there. She's like, "So Nathan, do you enjoy this entertainment business?" You know, and guess who freezes up on national TV? I did.
Oh, that's
Two
great.
words came out of my mouth. I said, "Yes, ma'am." And that's it. That's all I said. My father jumped in, saved the interview. But after the interview, Dennis and Naomi, he said this. He says, "Nathan, it's a talk show. Talk. People want to hear what you have to say." And on one hand, I was humiliated, while on the other hand, I was liberated because my hero, my dad, looked at me and said, "People want to hear what you have to say." And he started to instill a belief in myself and that I could become more fluent. I could start talking better and expressing myself better. And he worked with me and he coached me. We went on Regis and Kathy Lee next, and he says, "Guess what, guys? I'm not going on with you. This is your interview." And he started shaking, you know, we started jumping up and down like we're going out to play football. He says, "Nathan, I want two answers. I like it because," you see, and that's what coaching needs. Everybody here that's listening today, we all need a good coach. Why does Michael Jordan have a coach? Why does Tiger Woods have a coach? It makes all the difference. You can't see the picture when you're in the frame. So I'm grateful for all the good coaches I've had throughout my life.
Oh, that's really good. I like that story. And don't worry, you're pretty hot today, so I don't think you're going to freeze up.
No, you are going. You're going. I mean,
No pressure now.
No pressure.
But you were saying that, you know, you were shy. I mean, why?
Yeah.
And then you said, well, someone wants to hear what I have to say. So did you ever think, well, I don't know if I have something that I can share. Where's my message?
Like I said, you have to sometimes believe in somebody else's belief in you until your own belief kicks in.
Yeah.
My father looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, "Treat a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But treat a man the way that he could be, then he becomes what he should be." And I think that's where leadership comes in. My father was the leader of his group.
Yes.
You know, at the age of 12, my father was a regular on the Andy Williams shows. He didn't hardly even know how to read music.
Yeah.
But yet they had 12-page arrangements they had to have ready and learned and memorized by the next week.
Right.
And he was the leader at 12. So my father was a really good role model for me and helped me to understand that anything you want in life is achievable so long as you're willing to put forth the effort to make it happen. And so Andy Williams used to ask these guys, these young kids, he says, "Can you guys play banjo?" Before they could say no, my grandpa jumped in and says, "You bet they can." And they looked at him like he was crazy. We've never picked up a banjo in our lives, and we have to know it by next week. So they sent one brother to have lessons because they couldn't afford to pay for all of them. He learned the song, come back and teach them all, and then they'd have it all memorized by the next week.
Wow.
They come in and they nail it. They got the title One Take Osmonds. "Can you guys play piano?" You bet they can. Same thing. "Can you guys ice skate?" And before they could say no, Grandpa says, "You bet they can." Guess what? They went down and rented ice skates at the local ice skating arena, and they skated till they had blisters the size of silver dollars on their feet. But they learned how to skate. They came in, they nailed it. And guess what? That week, the Ice Capades called the Osmonds up and said, "You guys are really good. Do you want to go on the road with us?" A week before, they'd never ice skated. So that just goes to show you that anything you want to achieve in life, as long as you're willing to work hard enough and smart enough for it, you can achieve it.
And your grandpa definitely instilled that in you at a very young age, and you believe
he was military.
You believe.
I mean,
Absolutely.
you learned a lot about yourself in the military. My father said. He says, "I thought I was going to die,
That's something.
but I learned what my body was capable of doing." And he pushed through the pain and was able to make it. And I think that having a great coach like that is incredible. My father was real tough in the military. He won 3 out of the 4 trophies in the camp, and he didn't even know there was trophies involved.
Wow.
So,
Wow. So tell us about your grandfather and how he got started with your dad and your uncles when they first got their first start. I mean, how did that go pretty smooth or?
well, you know what? My grandpa loved to sing. My grandmother was a saxophone player. She used to play with a lot of the bands in the 40s. And so the music was definitely in their DNA. But my father listened to my grandma and grandpa sing together, and he heard grandpa singing this weird part. He says, "What's that?" He goes, "Oh, that's harmony." So my grandpa started to teach his sons a few of the little harmonies, you know, that he knew. And before they knew it, they started singing. They went to sing in church. And they sing a lot of different church events, right? Then they sing in this little park. And during the song, somebody flipped a little coin up on the stage, like a little dime or something. And my Uncle Jay stopped. He kept singing, but he ran over and picked up the dime and put it in his pocket. People thought that was funny. So they kept flipping pennies and quarters and nickels, and he just ran around the whole stage collecting coins. They didn't know they could get paid to do this. So they said, if we keep doing this, we can afford to send Verl and Tom on missions, and helped to buy them hearing aids because their two older brothers were deaf. And so, long story short, is they kept on performing and singing. They said, if we want to make it, we better go to L.A. We better go to Los Angeles and pursue this dream. So guess what they did? They bought a map of where the stars live, and they went around and started knocking on their doors. You get arrested if you did this today. But they knocked on the Lennon sisters' door, who were on the Lawrence Welk show, and they said, hey, we're the Osmond brothers. Can we come in and sing you a song? And they let them in. And anyway, they sang back and forth. Long story short, they said, you should meet our boss, Lawrence Welk. Well, they lined up a meeting. They went down to meet Mr. Welk. And for whatever reason, he's in the other room. He won't even come out and shake their hands or even acknowledge that they're there. Wow. And it just broke these little kids' hearts. So my grandmother's thinking, you know what, George, let's take the boys to Disneyland, and then we'll go home and live normal lives. Well, they went to Disneyland from that audition, so they're all in their costumes, so they look like a group. Well, sure enough, the Dapper Dans, that little barbershop quartet that sings there on Main Street, USA, comes riding down on their bicycle and sees these boys and says, hey, you guys look like a group. He says, well, we are. Well, sing us a song. Same thing happened. Back and forth, they started singing. People thought it was just part of the attraction there at Disneyland. After they sang a few numbers, they said, you guys got to meet our boss, who just happened to be Andy Williams' father, who told Andy, you better get these boys on your show. It's amazing how God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
But they were in the right place at the right time, and they were prepared.
Yes.
But even their uncle, before they left to go to L.A., says, you guys are good, but you're not that good. Wow. I mean, that's the kind of opposition that they got. Now, what if they had listened to the naysayers? There would have been no puppy love, baby.
Well, it sounds like you actually fell kind of like that same course as well. I mean, you took off as well from Utah.
Yeah.
You left your home.
And on top of that, guess what? I was working 155 conferences a year as the MC and motivational speaker.
Wow.
I had hardly any time off at all, and I can't ask my company, my business that I'm working for time off to go pursue a career. So you got to get creative sometimes. Guess what I told him? My brother Dave is getting married. I need a week off. You need a week off for a wedding? They asked me. I says, do you know how many Osmonds there are? Do you know how long that line is? I said, I need a week off. Will you give me a week? And they're like, okay. What they didn't know, though, is that I was on my way back to Nashville on the way to the wedding to record the first 4 sides of my album.
Wow.
So I had to get creative when I did it, and then I showed up with a demo with 4 sides cut. And my parents look at me and go, when did this happen? I was like, exactly. When no one was looking.
Right. And that fits. So we end the show every single week with a thought about, if you're thinking about successful, you got to do something about it. Quit thinking about it.
Don't wait for your ship to come in. You got to swim out to meet it.
You have to go grab it.
Absolutely. Very true. So we want to, talk a little bit more about your family.
Sure.
But also about your family. You've got, I understand you've found yourself incapable of having girls. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have 4 boys. I'm number 2 of 8 boys. My mother tried 8 times and never got a girl.
So you've got a 3rd generation of Osmonds coming up here.
That's right. They got good teeth, too.
There are you have a brother that has some girls, though. You want to talk about them real quick? I know you put out
my
some
older
stuff
brother
on
Michael
Facebook.
has 5 girls, 1 boy, but he was always a sissy, so we always knew he's probably going to have the daughters.
That's good. And they have a little group starting. You want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Oh, the Osmond girls, my little nieces, are amazing. They're learning the new harmonies just like we did as kids, and they're out singing and performing. And they've even recorded a Christmas song that I wrote called "Why Do We Celebrate Christmas?" And you got to hear these girls sing. We have to have them on your show sometime.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, that'd be great. Absolutely. We'll have to hook that up for sure. So when we're going to go to break here in just a minute, and when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about your family, your kids, and your wife, and how do you balance all the things that you're doing and have a successful life with your family. And then
got it.
And then have your wife walk in the room and she'll tell the truth.
Well, she's the one that started it. This is the country thing.
That's right. You can
I
always
couldn't do what I
blame
do
it.
without her, for sure.
You can always blame it on her, that she's the one that said that you're looking a little country, right?
That's right. It was her fault.
That's right. So when we come back, we're going to talk some more with Nathan about not only his own family and how he balances the success in his career and his life and his family and church and everything else, but we'll also we also want to talk to you about your grandmother and starting a foundation for kids. So those two things.
Absolutely.
When we get back from the break, we'll have more Nathan Osmond right after this.
Yeehaw.
You're wrong.
I'm wrong. You're the one who misrepresented the facts.
Are you kidding?
no right to call
You
anyone.
are the worst example of
I
politics.
stand for something.
Flip-flop.
I stand for something.
Flip-flopper, flip-flopper.
Your proposal is ludicrous.
My proposal
It's
will
ludicrous.
go exactly the way I say it will.
My dead body.
I think somebody needs a timeout.
That's the power of one.
I motion that I be issued the timeout, and
Wow, me too.
yeah, for sure, you should get a timeout.
I apologize.
And I motion that I start showing more respect.
Civility. Pass it on.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
I did. Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls. But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that strollers have the right of way on a sidewalk?
Yes.
Yep, I did. Did you guys
Did you know that kids who eat breakfast have higher GPAs?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say.
Did you know babies should never touch silver? It's really bad for them.
I knew that.
Did you guys know that statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
I'm putting that on my blog.
I just put it in mine.
So, I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that! That's disgusting! Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Success Talk Show. We're back with Nathan Osmond, and we want to spend a little time getting to know him better by asking him some questions about his family, his boys and his wife, and how do they balance his career? I mean, you're a pretty busy guy, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, being a parent is a full-time job, and I couldn't do what I do without my sweet wife, Sarah. She's amazing, and I'm very grateful that I married a low-flying angel, as we call her. But the thing is, we've got 4 children, all boys, and just this morning, you know, I tried to be a good husband, let her sleep in. I got up and made all the sack lunches for school. I got the boys fed, got them dressed, got them out the door, and just in time for this show. So, you know, when I'm home, I try to be home, and that's the thing is that we've learned that you got to find balance. Is it always easy? Of course not.
No.
It takes effort to actually be balanced. Sometimes I get a little unbalanced, and my wife needs to reel me in. So the thing is you gotta wear different hats in life. As most of my pictures you see a cowboy hat today. I've got a different hat on, but I wear the hat as a provider. I wear a hat as a father. I wear a hat as a serve in my church, and we all wear different hats in life. But the thing is you got to find balance. I found that sometimes some of the most talented people I know out there, they're super, super talented in one area, but they're a little unbalanced in their social lives or in other parts of their lives because they focus so much on one area. And you can get very lopsided in life, I found, that if you don't, my parents wanted us to, I attribute them for helping me to understand that because they worked very, very hard. I think they were a little bit unbalanced and missed out on some things in life. My father, we were working on our boy band thing growing up as teenagers, he wanted us to have as much of a normal life as possible as we worked on our careers. So he allowed us to go play sports. He allowed us to be involved in different things in our schooling that that he didn't get a chance to be a part of because all they did full time was entertainment. So I'm grateful that he taught me the importance of balance. When we would finish recording sessions, sometimes your adrenaline is so high because you've been in the studio screaming and singing and getting that energy on tape. He says, "Boys, I want you to do me a favor, breathe." Relax. I want you to calm down as we drove home to go to bed, late at night. He says, if you don't, you're going to have health challenges later on in your life. So learn balance early on in life. I'm grateful that my parents taught me that.
That's good. So I want you to just pretend for a minute that this TV show is just for your boys, and they're going to watch it later in life before they get married.
Oh, yes.
What advice would you give to them, because I know our audience members are going to appreciate this advice, to being a good father? What do you think some of the keys are to being a good father and a good husband?
Well, I think you gotta commit, just like anything in life. If you want to be a successful dad, then you got to commit to being a successful father. You determine what that word success means. I know this is Saturday Morning Success here, but the thing is what does success look like to you? I think that you kind of have to know what your values are in life. What do you value? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself that question? I think I learned this from my buddy Andy Andrews. He says that the quality of our answers is determined by the quality of our questions. Are you asking yourselves the right questions? A lot of times it's amazing what people will sell us out to do in this business just for notoriety, just for success. My brother went down to L.A. to pursue his career, and the first thing he says is, who can we put you, who can we have you start dating, or what kind of controversy can we get you involved in to get your name out there? And I says, is that what Hollywood's all about? It seems to be. But that was the first thing that they asked him when he got down there is, how can we get your name out there in a controversial type of way, or who can we have you start dating just so you can be seen? And it's just like, how shallow is that?
Yeah.
A lot of people say, well, do you want to win a CMA award? Do you want to win a Grammy? That'd be awesome. But does that determine what my success is? You see, I was with my children a couple years back, and we were at a pumpkin patch. And it was awesome because while we were out there trying to pick out a pumpkin or go through a corn maze, one of my songs kicks on the radio. And my kids looked at me like I was the biggest rock star they'd ever met. They said, "Dad, that's your song." And to me, that was a special moment.
Yeah.
Because to me, that is success.
Yeah.
The way your kids view yourself. If my kids think I'm a rock star, and they want to just be with me all the time, that's success as a dad. And you don't have to be a rock star, but in their eyes, isn't that all that matters? Is that you're their dad? They love you and they respect what it is that you do. Whether you're a plumber, whether you're an electrician, doesn't matter if you're on a stage. That's just a different field of providing for your family. That's what we do. It's what we love, and it's what we work hard for. Thing is, at the end of the day, take that hat off and put on a different hat. Be a dad at home. And I have to force myself sometimes to shut it off because I'm a go 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 kind of guy. But the thing is that I got to remember balance, and I got to not neglect my family. I believe that no success can compensate for failure in the home. So we try to keep it well balanced.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Hey, you talked about your brother coming out to Hollywood and wanting to get into them wanting to get him into something controversial.
Yeah.
What about your uncles? Did they go through? They were kind of unique in their being goody two-shoe boys.
Oh, they told them to never make it. They were goody two-shoe. You're never going to make it in this business. In fact, one time the record label pulled in the number one songwriter in the country. He says, he's got a surefire hit. You got to hear this, guys. Come down. So they went down to the record label's office. They sat down with this guy. He plays them the song. They look at each other a little, and they thought, wow, it's got the hook. It's got everything that a hit song needs. And they looked at this guy and says, you're super talented. My goodness, I'm sure that's going to be a great song. Unfortunately, we won't be able to record it. You see, there's a couple lyrics in there that just kind of don't mesh with our belief system and who we are. And so this guy starts crying. He starts tearing up. The record label's freaking out that the Osmonds have just did the number one songwriter in the country. And you know what he said to him? He says, you know what? If my mama were here, she'd slap my face.
Wow.
Let's go change those lyrics.
Wow.
And guess what? They changed the lyrics, and it went to number one. The song was called Love Me for a Reason.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible?
Wow.
And when I was on my mission in Chile for 2 years, guess what? I was sitting in a Burger King, and I heard Love Me for a Reason come on the air, but it wasn't the Osmonds. This song has been remade and gone to number one for several other groups as well. But in that moment in Burger King, enjoying my Whopper, I thought to myself, What if my dad had cowered? What if he had caved in and not stood for what he believed in, and would have sung those filthy lyrics? I'd be sitting here on my mission being ashamed of my father not standing up for what he believed in.
Wow, yeah.
But because he stood for something, it still went to #1, and 3 other groups have recorded it. So in that moment, I learned that you don't have to shift your values. You don't have to give up who you are to be successful in this business. Be who you are. Be original. Be brave enough to stand up for something. My father always says, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
No, very, very true. I love the fact that you can be yourself and be honest and open and have some core values that will, go on beyond you. I think the real, you talk about defining success. And I think that success, the right kind of success, should live longer than you.
Absolutely. What kind of legacy are you leaving behind?
Exactly. And speaking of legacy, let's talk about what your grandmother started working with, first of all, with deaf children, is that right?
That's right. Her 2 oldest children were both born deaf, and the doctors told her, don't have any more kids. Well, I'm grateful that she didn't listen to the experts, because there would have been no puppy love.
Yeah.
There would have been no father. You would have a different guest on your show today. So my puppy, Nancy, and he was the first that could hear, so he became part of the group. But she wanted to do something to make a difference for deaf children. So they started Osmond Foundation for Children of the World, and originally its main purpose was to help children with hearing difficulties. So, but then she started seeing all these children around in hospital beds and thinking, how can we pass up any one of them? Let's make it about all the kids. And so we changed the name to something you might recognize, the Children's Miracle Network. That started around our kitchen table with tuna fish sandwiches. And it's amazing what you can do when you have a dream and the guts to go for it, and your heart's in the right place. Well, my grandmother, she got noisy, and they had a television studio here, so that's where we started having the telethon, was right there in the Osmond studio. It then moved to Disneyland. Now it's at Disney World. It's become one of the largest foundations on the planet, and they've raised over $4 billion just in the last 30 years for children in hospitals. It's incredible. I grew up as a youth chairman for that, and I still do a lot of work with the Children's Miracle Network. It's one of my favorite foundations.
Oh, that's a great story. And your grandmother wasn't all about taking the credit for things either. Is that correct? I mean,
grandfather.
She was behind the scenes kind of lady. She was like a big teddy bear. And that's the thing, is that a lot of the fans really, when she died on Mother's Day, which was really appropriate because she was known to so many of the fans as Mother Osmond. A lot of people, including my former manager, she even referred to my grandmother as Mother Osmond because she was there like a mother figure for her. She even took her in for a little while. And I never knew that. Yeah, and the thing is, she would always be the people. But the thing is that one that she taught my father before she passed away. She was in a coma. She came out of this coma and reached over and grabbed his hand and said, "It's amazing what we can accomplish when we don't care who gets the credit." And why she had to come back to tell him that was me. But God works in mysterious ways. But that's the way she lived her life.
Oh, that's great.
It's amazing what we can accomplish when we don't care who gets the credit. That's why we changed the name. It's not about the Osmonds. It's about the kids.
Yeah.
So I read a great book once that I think that your listeners should go out and read, and it's called Man's Search for Meaning. It's by Dr. Viktor Frankl. He was an Auschwitz survivor. And in his first chapter, Dennis and Naomi, he says something that really struck home with me. He says, don't aim at success. For success, like happiness, cannot be pursued. It must ensue. And it can do so as an unintended side effect to one's dedication to a cause greater than oneself. And then he broke down it in simple form by saying, if you know your why, you can endure almost any how. So if you know what you want to accomplish in life, ask yourself, is this bigger than me? Am I doing music because I just want money and fame and notoriety? Is that big enough?
Right.
Is that bigger than me? Or maybe perhaps I want to be a good influence and a positive role model for young people who need a good positive role model out there. Look who they're looking at. I mean, it's amazing what we call role models nowadays. It's disgusting. I mean, it's incredible, all these sports figures and people that are trying to keep out of jail, just trying to keep them out there in the limelight. But the thing is, I don't do it for the fame. I don't do it for anything else. I want to be a good missionary. You can see who's over here on my right shoulder.
Yep.
I know who I serve, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if I have a Grammy. As long as my kids and my God think I'm doing all right, that's all that matters.
And that's truly success. That is success. And I think that society on a whole has got to messed up somewhere around there.
True.
You've definitely got to figure it out.
Well, there's good and bad. My father always says it's like a pendulum. Wherever there's this much bad, there's also this much good. Unfortunately, the press doesn't want to cover the good. But just know it's out there. And I think that as we all strive to make a difference in this life, you talked to Naomi about leaving a legacy.
Yes.
My buddy Stephen Covey always talked about leaving a legacy. And I've had a chance to get to know Stephen very well. What a great man he was. It's unfortunately he checked out soon, but you know what? He left a legacy. Look at the lives he's been able to influence. We don't understand the power of one, but each of us can affect millions. A good friend of mine, Andy Andrews, does a lot of talking. He talks about the butterfly effect, and I love that story, and he proves this. You know, the butterfly effect was laughed out of the New York Academy of Sciences way back in the day because it was ridiculous. Edward Lorenz in the 60s came up with this idea that butterflies on the other side of the world could flap their little butterfly wings and move air molecules, which would then in turn more air molecules, and so on and so forth. But the thing is, they said talk to the other side of the world, it could get a hurricane, and they thought that was ridiculous. But it was very interesting, so it stuck around. And guess what, Dennis? With more research and looking into the butterfly effect, they found that it was viable and it worked every single time with any type of moving matter, and not just butterflies, but with humans. In fact, they gave it the status of a law. It's called the law of sensitive dependence upon initial conditions. That's what the butterfly effect is known as. It's like the law of gravity. They gave it the status of a law. But the thing is that we can prove that what we do and what we don't do every single day matters to every single one of us. And there are literally generations yet unborn whose very existence determines what we do today and tomorrow and the next day. And we can literally save the lives of billions of people just by one act alone. It's incredible.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right recommending that book too by Dr. Viktor Frankl.
Yeah.
We actually going to have there's a brand new documentary out about him. Was just released this last week, and the producer is going to be on our show this coming year. We don't have a date yet, but I've talked to her and she'll be on. But that key of understanding your why is so important. It helps you to set your goals. It helps you to actually achieve things. If you don't know where you want to go, or if you don't know why you want to go anywhere, then it doesn't matter where you go.
And I really like that he said, you know, the influence for good is, you know, it's way more powerful than anything, than you and I, and to have that.
Got to be bigger than you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
That is so key. That's neat. I'm glad you shared that.
Tell us. I'm going to
absolutely.
I'm going to veer off a little bit here, and I want to talk some more about your family. Tell us about how you and your wife met. How did you know that she was the one for you?
Well, my birthday's on Valentine's Day, and Cupid must have been out. She's the first girl I met when I got off the road from doing the musical. I was pulling my bags in, and she and her roommate were on their way out to TGI Fridays to get something to eat. She'd just broken up with a guy, which I was like, yes. Yeah. Anyways, long story short, I met her actually while I was on a date with another. I recognized her because it was just a quick passing that night, but long story short is that she was a hostess at the Olive Garden. I was on a date with another girl, and I didn't really want to stick around for breadsticks and salad on a Friday night because it was packed. But she says, hey, that girl goes to our church. I bet she can get us in faster. Well, sure enough, she did. And I was thinking to myself, I must be sitting too close up front in church. I got to sit back in the back and see who's there. How did I miss her? You know what I'm saying? And so dated for 2 years, and now 4 boys later. It's amazing.
Oh, that's really good.
Well, that was Providence kicking in right there, wasn't it, Nathan? He's been just following you your whole path, your whole life.
Oh, yeah. She was cast as Snow White at Disney World, so I tell everybody I married Snow White and we got 4 dwarfs.
Need a few more.
That's right. Snow White by day and Sleeping Beauty by night, right?
Does that make me Prince Charming? I don't know.
Well,
she actually dated Goofy when she was there at Disney.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's good. So she's a real character is what you're saying.
She's a real character.
That's right.
That's a good one.
Well, we're going to come back. We're going to go to break. We're going to go to break here again in a minute.
Anyways, we're having a lot of fun, and we dated for 2 years. We got a lot of great stories.
Very good. Well, we're going to go to break here now, and when we come back, we would like to talk some more with you about your music career, what your future is all about, what you see in the future for your family, for yourself, for your music business, and everything else. So we're going to head on out, and when we come back, we'll have more with Nathan Osmond, and Naomi and I are having some fun talking with him and learning a little bit about his personal life. We hope that you're enjoying the show too. It's an opportunity to get to know somebody that you see up on a stage singing songs, and you go, gosh, I love that music. But you can love the guy. We'll be right back.
People, listen up. Our fugitive has been on the run for 90 minutes. Average foot speed over uneven terrain, barring any injuries, is 4 miles per hour. That's a 6-mile radius. I want checkpoints established at I-95, 495, and over at Route 66. What I need from each and every one of you is a full target search of every gas station, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, hen house, outhouse, and doghouse in that area. Your fugitive has just cashed in his 401k plan, and all he had to do was roll it over. Go get him!
Learn about rollovers and protecting your financial future, and choose to save.
You can't mess with a big dog.
Well, you're wrong.
I'm wrong. You're the one who misrepresented the facts.
Misrepresent the facts? Are you kidding? Your proposal is ridiculous.
You have no right to call anyone.
You are the worst example of politics.
I stand for something.
Flip-flop.
I stand for something.
Flip-flopper, flip-flopper.
Your proposal is ludicrous.
My proposal will go exactly the way I say it will.
My dead body.
I think somebody needs a timeout.
That's the power of one.
I motion that I be issued the timeout, and...
Wow, me too.
Yeah, for sure, you should get a timeout.
I apologize.
And I motion that I start showing more respect.
Civility. Pass it on.
You're watching Eagle Vision, Mount Jacinto College's very own television channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday morning Success Talk Show. And just come on back in. We're talking to Nathan Osmond, having a great time. And
he has a lot of things back there.
Oh, it's incredible, yeah.
Oh, I want to go over there.
We want to
climb up through the window.
I know that you're a humble man, and you love serving other people, but you've shared with us during the break a little bit some of the things that you've been given by people who appreciate the service and help that you've given them. Can you share some of those?
It's unbelievable. Yeah, this year I got contacted and they told me that I've been selected as one of the 10 outstanding young Americans of 2013. I'm like, what? This is by the U.S. Junior Chamber, or the JCs, and I was able to go up to Seattle to receive this award. Take a look at this. Isn't this gorgeous? Look at this.
Wow.
Two hands reaching out to help with one another.
Awesome. Look at that.
This award right here was Elvis Presley's most coveted award. He received the same award, and you know what? It's actually on display at Graceland. Even the tuxedo and the dress that Priscilla wore the very same night that he received this award are on display next to this award at Graceland. And the reason why it meant so much to Elvis is because it was the very first time that he was considered a humanitarian and not just an entertainer only.
Wow.
And I thought that was really cool. Elvis was a good friend of our family, and he was always involved, not always in the publicly known, but he was involved in good causes. He always took good care of his mother and his band members, and was always involved in something positive. He was a good humanitarian, and that's one thing I really love about Elvis Presley. But that award was given to me this year, and I'm very honored to have it displayed here in my office. But like I said, you don't do it for the trophies or the accolades. You do it because it's bigger than you.
Right.
I found that to be true as we've gone into hospitals and got to sing for children. You know, at a young age, to go in and get to sing to a burn victim or a leukemia patient, and to hear them say it's a great day. Yeah. I mean, what else? What do I have to complain about then? Right. You know, I think that's why I have a positive attitude, is because of perspective. And I think that oftentimes when we start feeling sorry for ourselves or feeling down in the dumps, we need to go do something else for somebody else, because you have a greater understanding and perspective on life, that life sometimes when it hands you lemons, you should make lemonade because others are. And sometimes their problems are 10 times greater than yours. Oftentimes we like to change our problems or our situations for other people because we think the grass is always greener on the other side, right? Not always true. In fact, if you would actually observe and look into the lives of those around you, you'd actually want to keep your problems and your challenges rather than take on somebody else's, because I found that there's a lot of people going through a lot of hard stuff right now in life.
Right.
And people are struggling out there. And if you're watching this, guess what? Breathe. You're still here with us. Your greatest moment in life has yet to be fulfilled. There is still laughter to be enjoyed. There's still lives to bless. There's still great moments of joy to be experienced in this life. If there weren't, you'd be gone. You'd be checked out already. God would have called you home. But you know what? Your mission is yet to be accomplished on this life. So get excited about that. You're in the halftime right now, baby.
Right.
Let's just get centered. Focus on others. Get out there and do something for someone else, because when you do, your life will be blessed tenfold, and you will find joy in serving. So that's what I've tried to do, is to give back. You know, my grandmother, as I mentioned, was a great example to me, and my father and uncles were always involved in something positive. So that's what this award was given to me for, was for my musical achievements as well as my humanitarian efforts.
That's great.
I told you a little earlier, I've done things for the troops. You know, this new album that I got, Homeward Bound Heroes, is going to benefit the Wounded in Action Family Foundation, and I'm a national spokesperson for them. Also, I wrote the theme song just barely for the American Fallen Warrior Memorial Foundation, and toured all over the country with a piece of the World Trade Center, you know, helping to raise funds for a memorial for those who given the ultimate sacrifice for us and our freedoms. In fact, they gave me this. This is a piece of the slurry wall from the South Tower of the World Trade Center. I'm one of the few people that actually has a piece of this, and what an honor to be given such a memorial. In fact, a good buddy of mine was there. He survived the collapsing of the North Tower, and he and I stay in good contact with each other. He lost his entire squad that day. Wow. So that day affected all of us. But so I do a lot to give back for the troops and those who have served our country, because my grandfather was an Army sergeant, my father served in the military, my great uncle's a Pearl Harbor survivor. I got a lot of passion for our troops, especially those who give the ultimate sacrifice and those who lay their lives on the line and come back different because of what happened to them over there. One of the songs that we have on this new album, I sing it with Linda Davis. She's the mother of Hillary Scott from Lady Antebellum. She sang that duet, Does He Love You, with Reba. She's a country classic, a legend. And we did this song called Don't Go There, which talks about suicide. You know, we're losing on average 22 veterans a day to suicide. Wow. So we figured if we can do one song on here, and if we can save one life, then it was worth recording that song. I got my buddy Colin Ray singing on this new album. We got a song called A Soldier's Life on there, but I'm very, very excited about the new album. It'll be coming out this year. Stay tuned. Go to NathanOsmond.com. Follow me on Facebook, which is Nathan Osmond Music. Follow me on Twitter, which is @NathanOsmond, and on my YouTube channel, which is Nathan Osmond Music. So anyway, I'm out there trying to get noisy. I got a new song I'll be posting up on my new YouTube channel coming up here shortly. I'm keeping it a surprise, but I'm so grateful to my fans out there and those who follow me. I couldn't do it without all you guys, and I just think that if there's any way I can give back to others, you know, then I'll continue to be blessed and be able to do what it is that I love to do.
You definitely have a lot of heart, Nathan, and it's reflected in all of your music. And I think it really speaks.
Thank you. I was born on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go, a lot of heart.
That's where it comes from. That's right.
You know, and I think that's a key. You know, just keep that heart open, and you know, success will follow you. You know, lead you to the right place. And I've heard a lot of the songs that you've written, and they are very inspiring. And it's made. You know, haven't had a lot of exposure to country, but you know, you've turned me, and so now I'm right there with you. I love that.
Thank you.
So much.
You got a new.
Well, I tell you, you're just trying to make a difference, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm just thrilled. I told Denis yesterday. I just got word yesterday. There's one of my favorite authors. His name is John C. Maxwell. They just nominated me as in the top 30 nominees for the first ever John C. Maxwell Leadership Award. See, I don't go out looking for this. But the thing is, I found that if you just try and make a difference in this world and leave your mark, other people will be touched and other people will recognize those things. So I'm really thrilled that I was nominated for that award this coming February. So my wife and I are going to go down to Orlando, but the key is do it because of reasons that are bigger than you.
Right.
You know, I'm grateful for what my grandmother says. It's amazing what we can accomplish, and we don't care who gets the credit. And that's when you leave a legacy in this life, is when you find yourself constantly looking to it's not what you leave in your children, it's not what you leave for your children, it's what you leave in them. See, I know a lot of people that are considered successful, since this show is about success, that are some of the most miserable, most frustrated people on this planet. They have no relationship with their children, and they're absolutely the opposite of what you would consider successful. But because the world puts so much emphasis on financial success as being successful, that oftentimes we talk about that balance. I think that you need to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Am I doing it for the right reasons? And how can I leave the biggest impact in the lives of others before God calls me home?
Right.
And I think that if we constantly find ourselves trying to ask ourselves the right questions and doing things for the right reasons, that success will come anyway.
True. I want to pay some tribute to a veteran that we were actually going to have on the show today, and he's spending a little bit of time in the hospital right now, recovering from a little infection. But if you've had email or Facebook or any social media, about every time at Christmas, there's a poem that comes out that was written that talks about Santa Claus coming down the chimney, and he winds up in seeing a Marine.
'Twas the night before Christmas.
That's right, absolutely, yeah. And it is James Schmidt is the author. A couple people have claimed to be the author since then, but we actually got in touch with James Schmidt, and he would be here today, except he's laying, well, I don't know if he's laying down in the hospital or just getting released, but he wasn't able to make it today. But I found a little hat to kind of remind me of both veterans.
Yay!
You like that?
Awesome
that looks good on you.
And Christmas. So.
That's your color. Green's your color.
But he,
Fashion police, so we need him.
That's right. Today is actually the day that he is releasing a little song that is adapted from that poem that talks about the importance of our veterans and what it's like at Christmas time to be out in the war zone. We'll have him on in a future show, but he was actually a sniper who was hurt very badly, and he wrote that poem while he was in bandages in the hospital. So it's an incredible thing.
These guys put so much on the line for us, and basically it's like writing a blank check to the United States for the amount of up to your own life.
Right.
And they never know when they might be called upon to go and give that sacrifice, but they're willing. And that's why I think that they deserve their utmost respect. You know, when they get on these planes, they're not going on vacation. They're going to serve you and your family so that you can stay home. That's why I'm very passionate about serving. In fact, I was in Hawaii. I did a show over there, Dennis and Naomi, called Pacific Swing Hawaii. It was voted the #1 family show in Waikiki. It was all 1940s themed, too. But while I was there, I met a lot of great troops who were serving us. They told me one night while I was at this little country club, one of the only places I could hear country music in Hawaii, they said, Osmond, if you want people to like you in country music, here's what you got to do. Write a song about us, and people will dig it. And so I took them up on it. I wrote this song called Stars and Stripes, which hit #1 on several country charts. I'm very excited about that. But when you go watch this video on YouTube called Stars and Stripes, guess what? There are no actors in this video. This is a military couple that we feature. We have actual combat footage in there. You see a guy being carried into the helicopter. He had been shot by a sniper.
Wow.
I mean, this is real footage. And I wanted to do something that would be a way to say thank you to them, and the whole theme of the song is it's an honor serving. It's an honor fighting for the Stars and Stripes, and so that's definitely the message of that song. But we'll keep that soldier you just told us about in our prayers. Hope he gets better soon.
Hey, thanks, appreciate that. So we want to talk about, and also one more thing I wanted to talk about was that you just did a big benefit concert also for veterans, right? Even Larry King came and helped you out with that. How did that go?
That's right, yeah. It was Homeward Bound Heroes, and it was a great show. We did it out back east. I had Larry King on the show. I had my buddies from Lone Star come in, and they performed on the show. We had Sarah Darling on there. I got to audition or debut some of the new songs off the new album. We had several other artists that were on the show with us, but we hope to continue on doing those types of projects that will be able to raise funds for that cause, the Wounded in Action Family Foundation. It's a great cause, and we were just down the street from Walter Reed Hospital. If you've never been there, you need to go. But to get to see these troops, I got to tell you, some of the first thing they want to do when they get bandaged up is they want to go back, because they felt they didn't fulfill their mission. They left their brothers back there and their sisters, and they want to get back and serve because their heart's in the right place. That is service right there.
Yeah.
And boy, it's really impacted me.
It's really good.
I talk about someone else who's impacted you too. Well, we talked a little bit about that person, but I've been reviewing a lot of your YouTube videos, and I saw something, actually a little clip there. You were on a Oprah Winfrey show. You were appearing with a bunch of your...
That was amazing.
With your brothers.
That was quite a feat, to get that many Osmonds to Chicago.
Definitely.
She chartered a whole plane and it flew us all there. In fact, we had a pillow fight. And it's weird when you walk on an airplane and every person on that plane is related to you. That's when you know you got a big family. But yeah, she did fly us out there, and it was a very tender moment for us because my grandfather George, who I'm the first grandchild to be named after him, my middle name is George. He had just passed away. In fact, Oprah says, "You guys want to cancel? You want to, And we said, "No, we're coming." In fact, let's make this a tribute to their lives, because Grandma had already checked out, So they were back together. We made it a celebration of their lives, and we got a chance to sing for Oprah. In fact, you can go on YouTube and check it out. It's called "I May Never Pass This Way Again," and it's the name of the song we got to sing. And it was a tribute to my grandparents. It says, "I'll give my hand to those who cannot see, the sunshine or the falling rain. I'll sing my song to cheer the weary along, for I may never pass this way again. I'll share my faith with every troubled heart, so I shall not have lived in vain." And that's what the song's all about, because we may never pass this way again. And it's very powerful. And I got a little choked up on there, as you'll see on YouTube.
Yes,
I was tearing up, but it really was a tribute to my grandparents, who set a really great example on both sides of my family. Both my sets of grandparents have been such an example to me of service, of humility, of integrity, and I think those are all secrets to success. And I'm so grateful, like I said early on, for the mentors and the coaches that I've had in my life. I think that's what you need to do. You need to be picky with who you surround yourself with. My buddy Les Brown always says, "OQP, baby. Only quality people." And that's who he surrounds himself with. I'm like, I like that. I'll keep that.
He's a great guy.
Anyways, I've been very blessed.
Very good. So tell us how we can contact you and get to know you. Have a business.
Oh, yeah.
You have your own business where you not only perform, but you do voiceovers.
For my country music, my country music is NathanOsmond.com. Obviously, that's my entertainment business. You can contact me through that website. But I do have a production company. I'm the president of what's called N-Tune Productions. And you go to N-T-U-N-E Productions.com. That's N like my initial and my tunes. NTuneProductions.com. What we do is our whole slogan is inspire the mind and lift the soul. And we produce everything from live events to music to commercials to music videos to voiceovers, anything you need production-wise. That's what we do. So come check out our website, check out our sizzle reels we've got on there, and you can contact me directly through that website. Just go to NTuneProductions.com.
Great, and you've got some great information on Facebook pages and all that stuff too.
And he's really good with his fans too. Let me tell you that.
I love the fans.
Yeah, he's really.
We have what's called Oz Monday. Every Monday is Oz Monday.
Oz Monday.
Right? That's right.
So we do that. I have Twitter Tuesdays where I'm always constantly tweeting with the fans, and I think that's what you got to do. You wouldn't have a career if you didn't have people show up to your shows.
Right.
So I'm grateful for the support they show me, and I want to just send a shout out to all of my fans, including my street team, which we call the O-Zone. And they're really out there calling the radio stations and making it all happen. But you go into the business not by yourself, but for yourself. And that's what I found, is that I could not do this business without great fans.
Oh, that's good.
Well, Nathan, you also have some concerts coming up in Vegas in February, maybe on your birthday. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll be down there. I'll be singing at this great big event that's going to be down there. You'll find that on my website, NathanOsmond.com. But I'll be in Indiana coming up this month. I'm going down to St. George, Utah, the end of this week. I'll be there on Saturday. But you can see my whole tour schedule at NathanOsmond.com.
That's great.
Click on the tour button there.
Well, we sure appreciate you having taking this time to make some lunches first for your boys and then come on the show?
Yeah.
I know.
I'd love to see that balance in
Wait.
your life. And
What kind of lunches did you make them?
what kind of sandwich?
Peanut butter and jelly.
All right, very good.
Yeah,
Peanut butter and
that's
jelly.
my favorite. You should call me Mr. Peanut because I love peanut butter.
That could be a country song, peanut
There you
butter
go.
and jelly, right? Well, listen, join us next week again, because if you're thinking about success and being successful, then remember the one thing that we tell you every week: quit thinking about it. Start doing something about it. I want to know by next week that you've done at least one more thing that's gotten you closer to your goal. See you next week.